This is the plaintiff, Nina Silva. She says she hired the defendant to paint her new apartment and then caught him standing on her bed with his dirty shoes painting her ceiling. This so-called painter was as messy as they come. Her floors were covered with paint, her bedspread had drippings on it, and he ruined an antique mirror. He refuses to make amends, and that's why she's suing him here and now for every penny of the $3,352 she's owed. This is the defendant, William Rifus. He says he got a little paint on the floor and helped the plaintiff clean it up. No big deal. He was paid for his work and thought that would be that. The next day, he gets an angry call from the husband saying he wrecked their new place. Bottom line, these people are a little cuckoo. He did the job he was hired to do and owes nothing. He's accused of being too drippy.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff hired the defendant to paint her apartment and messed it up. Something fierce. But the defendant says the plaintiff is simply nuts. It's the case of you're a little dippy.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Nina Silva, you are suing William Rifus for $3,352 on a $600 paint job that you say caused a lot of ruin in your new apartment. Tell me what happened.
On August 4th, Mr. Rifus was scheduled to come to my apartment at 7 o'clock in the morning and do a paint job. On August 3rd, I arrived on a red eye with my 2 children to the apartment.
How old are your children?
3 and 5. And my husband was driving our things from Portland, Oregon. I wanted it to get done before my husband arrived. Mr. Rifus had good reviews on Thumbtack, and he had the best quote, so I chose him. He arrived on time.
The best quote? You mean the lowest, the cheapest?
Yes.
Okay, so he was going to charge you $600 for the 1-bedroom apartment?
Yes.
All right.
Not the kitchen, not the bathroom.
What were the other quotes like?
$1,200, $1,500, I think was the one that was the highest.
Does an alarm ever go off in your head about that?
Yes.
Okay. Did your husband know that you were hiring somebody for $600?
Yes, he said that sounded very low.
So he comes in, and what's in his hands? What does he bring with him?
A backpack, a roller, and...
paintbrushes?
No paintbrushes.
At all?
No.
How was he going to cut the edges of anything?
I didn't think about it. Okay. We worked together. My kids were sleeping in the bedroom for about an hour and a half.
To tape?
To tape and tarp, and he had brought his own plastic tarps, and it was very efficient and taped and tarped everything very well. We got on the conversation of the fact that I was going to put backsplash up in the kitchen. It was peel and stick just to make it look nicer. And he said he would do, that's the kind of thing he would do too, and it would be $50. And at that point I thought, great, I would like to not have to do that.
At this point, was your whole living room tarped?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and the bedroom was to be done the next day.
Right.
So I told him I'll bring him something back. What did he want? I brought him something back, and then we left again and ate our lunch at the park. And when I came home, he was in the bedroom, standing on my bed, painting the ceiling, and paint was everywhere. He was using the desk which he had pulled from the living room and the bed as a ladder to paint the ceiling.
Because he didn't bring a ladder?
He didn't bring a ladder. He didn't bring a tray. I asked him if he'd wanted me to get him a tray.
Where'd the paint go if he didn't bring a tray?
He was dipping it in the gallon paint.
Dipping the roller?
Dipping the roller in the pan, yes.
Did you see him do that?
I did.
And that didn't panic you?
Oh, I was panicked at this point. I was in such a panic. I honestly there was paint everywhere. It was on the floor. It was on my computer, which he didn't move from the bed, which he was standing on to paint. On the iPad.
So he's standing with shoes on your bed?
Yes.
On your sheets?
Yes.
That you sleep on?
Yes.
That your children sleep on?
Yes. And he said, I got a little paint on your sheets. He said, don't worry, we're going to get this up with little Comet. We'll get this all done. It'll be cleaned up before I leave. The paint on the floor.
In the bedroom?
In the bedroom.
Did you go to do a paint job without brushes?
No.
Okay. You had brushes?
Yeah, I bought brushes.
Why was there paint everywhere? She says there was paint everywhere.
I mean, there was a little paint around the edge.
Around the edge of what?
Just where the trim meets the wood floor. A little bit of paint got on the sheets, which I said the best thing to do was...
Were you standing on her sheets with your shoes on?
No, I took my shoes off.
Did you bring brushes?
Yes.
Okay. Did you put tarp down in the bedroom?
Yes, I had tarp. I brought a lot of tarps.
What ends up happening? Do you and your husband have to repaint the place? Do you have to hire other painters to clean anything? Does anything like that happen?
No, we cleaned everything ourselves.
But you stopped payment on the check, and you paid him.
Yes.
You paid him $600.
Yes.
In his mind, was he done, or did he think he was coming the next day?
He thought he was coming back to finish the backsplash, and if I needed help with anything else.
Okay. You pay him a $600 check. Why do you do that?
Because it was 10 o'clock at night when it was finally time, when he was finally,
If he thought he was coming back, was he demanding the payment?
I didn't even get to whether he would demand the payment or not. If he was standing on my bed and he's acting, doing all these things, I want him out of my house. So you wanted him out of your life,
you figured you'd pay him, but then you raced to the bank and stopped payment.
Not that night.
Okay, when do you stop payment?
The morning.
It's hard to race to the bank at night.
Yeah,
okay.
The next morning, my husband called the bank.
Had the check been cashed?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The check was cashed the night of, they said.
So you do have the $600?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Let me see the pictures. Okay, and the video is queued up. Is this the bedroom or the living room?
This is the living room that was tarped.
Paint on the floor. Yeah, that's a shoe print. More paint drops on the floor. Over.
Why did you paint over hardware?
I was asked to paint the walls, not the trim.
Right, but why would you paint over hardware? And why is there paint on the blinds?
Because if I put blue tape, sometimes the paint goes through the blue tape.
Well, why didn't you clean it before leaving that day?
I wanted to, but the customer didn't want me there. And then I offered to the customer.
What time of night did you leave?
8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I was so tired, I don't even remember what time.
Is that paint on the TV?
Yes.
How do you get so much paint everywhere? Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. Who gets paint on every single fixture? Did you miss a fixture? Wait, you missed a fixture over there. I don't think you got paint on that one.
So, how can you tell if a painter is going to be messy? Are there warning signs when they come in?
Well, I think you kind of maybe want to take a look at how he presents himself. Maybe his tools are all where they're supposed to be. If he takes a lot of time to try to find something, then maybe that's a good sign.
Okay, what do you say?
Yeah, if he's disorganized, if his clothes are exceptionally messy, he might.
You're missing something really obvious. How can you tell if a painter is going to be messy? What do they put down before they start painting?
A tarp.
Right. What if there's no tarp in sight?
Well, then he's going to be a messy.
That's a good one. That's a good one, going inside the courtroom.
Where's your husband?
Right now?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right now. Where is he that he's not by your side?
He is his first day of work as a teacher, and he didn't not
He
ask
said
me.
you're on your own. You're paying yourself $40 an hour. Why? For cleaning?
Yes, his fee.
His fee was
His
$40?
handyman fee, yes.
So you decided you would charge him $40 for cleaning? Now, if the guy was going to come the next day for anything you needed, why didn't you just say, look, this place is a mess, go clean it up, and make him clean it, which is what other people would have done.
He never said he was going to come the next day.
I'm sorry. You told me he was going to, this is your exact words, he was going to come the next day to finish the backsplash, and then you didn't want to say clean up. So you said, help me with whatever else, okay? Okay, if he's coming the next day, help you with whatever else is clean up. Clean up. You just made a decision. You didn't want him in there for that. And now what you want is $3,000 from a man you were going to pay $600 to for a paint job. Well, actually, you were going to pay him $0 because you tried to stop payment before he could leave on a paint job that you still have because the paint job was not a bad paint job. It was that the paint got places it shouldn't have gotten. But the paint job itself, you have not replaced because it worked. Right. A paint job that other people quoted at $1,500, right?
Yes.
All right. You're entitled to the benefit of your bargain, which means you should have had, if the guy wants to quote you $600, it does not include you suffering that he get paint everywhere. But the guy was coming the next day. How did you know not to come the next day? She called you or you texted?
Her husband called me.
Okay, that's...
And he said, do not ever speak a word to my wife.
Okay.
Okay? And he said, you did this, you did that, you did this. I said, okay. So here's what I'll do for you. If you don't want me to come back and clean it, which I'm volunteering to clean your apartment, I will send a cleaning company in, and at no expense, I will pay for it to clean your apartment. I did my due diligence.
And he said?
No.
Okay.
So that's it.
I have a letter.
I can't subpoena his phone records.
So he says that he told your husband he'd send a cleaning crew.
I did not hear that. My husband did not tell me. I have a letter for you from my husband.
Yeah, let me see it.
In lieu of him being here.
If he was here, I could ask him that question. According to him, you told him, quit wasting my time and go F yourself.
After. Okay, yes, I did say.
Yes, but only after what?
After I offered to clean his apartment, okay? And then he said that if I don't give him his money back, okay? So I said, you know what? You're going to be nasty to me on the phone. I gave him some magic words.
Okay. Also, according to you, she told you she was throwing all this stuff out?
Correct, yes. She said that her new furniture is coming in a few days, or it's being shipped here from, I guess, the West Coast, where, like, stuff is not illegal to whatever.
Where what?
Where stuff is not illegal there, so
what
maybe...
What do you mean stuff is not illegal?
Like, the stuff that you smoked, it's not...
Marijuana?
Yeah. So maybe their minds were a little cloudy.
The entire West Coast. It is not legal in all of the West Coast, but go ahead.
But I think it might have clouded, like, her husband's judgment a little bit.
Why? That would make him very mellow. He'd come in and go, no worries. Just clean it up.
But I think this was an atypical situation.
I think the evidence is the opposite of that, so I don't know why you're saying that.
I think it was an atypical situation.
No, you know what it was? Here's what it was, okay? He told her not to do it. He told her not to hire you. She does it anyway. He's angry. He's angry at her. He's angry at you because the place is a mess, and the place is a mess. You should be cleaning. She had not spent 10 hours cleaning this because I can see she didn't, because I know latex paint. I understand. And I understand that it could, I mean, she still shouldn't have to clean any of it. But when the next day someone says, I'll come in and clean it, and your husband says no, because I believe that's what happened, okay? I'm done with you. You return the whole money. That is not a reasonable position. The only thing that trumps that position as being more unreasonable is your position, coming in here and suing for $3,300. This is a $600 paint job, but you're entitled to the benefit of a bargain of a $600 paint job that doesn't get messy. So what your damages are in this court of law is what it takes to clean it up. If you don't want to deal with him, and that's understandable, okay, you don't want to deal with him, you don't want him back there. If you hire a cleaning crew, do you think that cleaning this stuff, somebody was going to charge you $3,300, like what you're asking to come in here for? So really what you're entitled to here as damages is what it would cost a crew to come in and clean the damages off. That's what you're entitled to, and that's it. I'm finding in your favor in this case, not in the amount of $3,352, but I am finding in your favor in the amount of $200. $200 verdict for the plaintiff.
All right, both sides.
So in effect, the plaintiff really comes out the loser here. She was seeking more than $3,000. You only get $200. How do you feel about that?
Sad.
Sad? Really sad?
I do.
I mean, that's all you get. You get the money to help clean up. You understand the judge's explanation? Would you agree with that?
I do not. It took way more time to clean it up than...
Is it all cleaned up now?
It is all cleaned up now.
Okay.
37 hours later.
So you get $200 for your time.
Yeah.
Did you have a big argument with your husband by hiring him?
No, not a big argument.
But he was upset, right?
Yes, he wished I wouldn't have done it.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe you learned a lesson.
Maybe.
Thank you very much. Now, the defendant, Mr. Reifus, is on his way out of the courtroom. You know, you were accused of being a little drippy when you came into the courtroom. That's what they said, the plaintiff's call. Looking at the pictures, you really were a little drippy. Would you agree?
In some instances.
I mean, you were kind of messy. Come on.
Yes.
Okay. Have you learned anything from all of this?
Yes, I need to be Mr. Clean.
You do? Then you learned a valuable lesson.
Yes.
All right. Thank
Have
you
a
so
blessed
much.
day.
Okay,
Thank you.
I will. Okay, Mr. Levin, what do you think?
Okay, my advice, when you hire a painter, no matter what you think, watch them like a hawk at the beginning of the job to see what their protocol is in terms of how they do it, because that's probably going to tell you whether you're going to have a problem down the line. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.